The Walt Disney Company has an uphill battle as they use an R-rated comedy to add to the allure of Marvel Studios, but they are promising that you don't have to have watched any of the MCU in order to enjoy the film. What in the world does that mean? Does it signal a big change for Marvel? Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is the Watcher, Mr. VashSky. Vash, are you going to intervene, or are you just going to witness the great events?
I will witness the great events. However, if I feel compelled to, I might intervene. And in this case, I think we are compelled to intervene. Well, okay, maybe not intervene in the broadest sense. You know what, Jonas? Let's go ahead and continue on with the story of these comic book heroes with their claws and knives and so forth.
That's true, and who knows what kind of claws might be in the Wolverine contract that Hugh Jackman signed. Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't require prior knowledge of the MCU, director says. The movie is built for entertainment. I think that's a great idea for Marvel movies moving forward, to build them for entertainment. This from Armando Tinoco from Deadline. Hey, look at that. It's Deadpool and Wolverine. That guy right here, that's Hugh Jackman, and or at least his face. And this guy on the right could be Ryan Reynolds, could be somebody else. Who knows? Shawn Levy, the director of Deadpool and Wolverine, doesn't like homework and does not require moviegoers to have prior knowledge of the MCU to enjoy his latest film. Of course, that's also something that they've said about previous productions in the MCU, and it's not really been true. So hopefully Shawn Levy is not steering his audience in the wrong direction with that. The Marvel filmmaker revealed in a recent interview that the Marvel movie starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman is meant to be entertaining. What a statement right there. Isn't that kind of condemning with faint praise? The film is meant to be entertaining. Yes. Yes, I would hope.
Well, also too, I like the characterization on the prior Marvel works as homework, just openly. Yeah, let's not go over some of those other stories that have preceded this up until this point. Don't look at those too hard, folks.
Well, also, I from what I'm hearing from this film, and I don't want to ruin the ending, but I would say that this film is a culmination of the Fox X-Men franchise more than it's a culmination of the Disney Marvel MCU stuff. That, by the way, used to be at Paramount before Paramount sold all the rights to those Marvel movies over to Disney. That's a fascinating thing that we're looking back on as Paramount currently tries to, let's say, reboot the entire company. I was a good student in school, says Shawn Levy. I'll do my homework as an adult, but I am definitely not looking to do homework when I go to the movies, Levy told AP in an interview. He's just like one of us. The MCU has become complex for some to follow, with films and streaming shows being churned out over the years. However, Levy promises this new entry into the Marvel multiverse was made respecting the rabid fan base as well. So he's saying there's going to be callbacks, but they're not going to be callbacks that you have to understand in order to enjoy the film.
I guess that's what they're getting at here, but here's my thing with this. We already know this is somewhat untrue because, well, obviously in the very first trailer for this film, it features the TVA, or the Time Variance Authority, which is a product of Loki. Now, you'll remember, folks, that when Jonas and I were covering the first Deadpool trailer, I was actually very positive about it until somebody informed me, hey, no, it references the TVA, that's not good. And it's like, oh, that isn't good. But I didn't necessarily notice it because I hadn't watched Loki. And well, when I was told about that, which, by the way, the TVA looks like to play a very prominent, important piece of this film. This is not just a callback or a reference. This is how Ryan Reynolds' character is included into the MCU going forward. Well, then obviously that changes things. So I'm not sure what they're doing here. They're trying to underplay, or they're trying to downplay the importance of these prior works, but we know that they are important in this film.
Right, and there are entire channels on YouTube that are dedicated very specifically to spotting all of the Easter eggs in each individual episode of a Marvel property, whether that's a movie or a streaming show. In fact, it's gotten to the point where some of it is not necessarily an Easter egg. It's more like this is the thing that we're talking about, and they just explain where it came from, as opposed to it actually being something that you're not supposed to find. They'll literally put it on screen. The MCU has kind of gotten to the point where you can just assume that almost any shop in the background is a reference to something that Marvel has done in the past. This is, as you indicated before, is kind of an indictment on the MCU right here to say that no, in their marketing of this film, they're saying, no, we want them to be entertaining. You don't have to do a lot of homework. This is them trying to pull the audience back in. Of course, they're also pulling in the audience to a very different kind of MCU than the one that they left. This one leaning heavily on all those Fox things that they worked very hard to say, no, we're not those Fox films. We're not those Fox X-Men films. We're not X-Men Origins Wolverine. We're not, I don't know, pick one of the first class films that didn't deliver as well to you. They want to say that, no, we're the MCU. But now Deadpool entering the MCU is supposed to be the rebooting of this. And of course, it's rated R, and not just rated R because there's a lot of blood in it. It's rated R because of language and subject matter. That's what Deadpool is. And I hope that everybody understands going in that that's what that is. I don't know if this is going to save the MCU. I think it'll make a lot of money. I don't know if it'll make $1 billion. But let's continue on here. I very much made this film with certainly a healthy respect and gratitude towards the rabid fan base that has peak fluency in the mythology and lore of these characters and this world, but I didn't want to presume that, he said. This movie is built for entertainment with no obligation to come prepared with prior research. First of all, rabid fan base, that's a nicer way of putting it. It's still a little bit of a dig. I don't think he means it as a dig to say that someone has a rabid fan base. I think that those words land a little different today than they used to land. Vash, do you see this as them being careful, or do you see this as Shawn Levy just presenting his perspective?
I think Shawn Levy's presenting his perspective, and I think it's the greater story here is that I think Marvel has received a lot of feedback. Obviously, the recent Marvel films haven't performed all that well, and a lot of people have stated that, look, at a time when, Endgame took off, it was the culmination of so many great things, and maybe they needed to pull back on the amount of content that they were actually producing. And instead, they hit the accelerator pedal and produce all this content that now people feel a little bit like, oh man, they have, there's a timid hesitation, let's say, to indulge in the latest Marvel product because they hadn't necessarily caught up with the products before then. And so a lot of people have said that, well, that's why you're having problems. Now, I think it's a little bit more systemic than that. I think the issues are a little bit more profound than that. But I think a lot of you're hearing this line throughout the press, and for one reason or another. And I think that's what Shawn Levy is really speaking to here.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think this final quote kind of lends to that. He says, as far as crafting the Deadpool and Wolverine story, I just feel privileged every day because you're talking about two massive movie stars in their most iconic roles. Levy told Screen Rant during CinemaCon. It also gave me an opportunity. It's the third Deadpool movie, and it's not Deadpool 3. It's a different thing that's very much Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's not trying to copycat anything from the first two movies. They were awesome, but this is a two-hander character adventure. So I think what they're saying here is this is a Wolverine movie. I actually think they should have called this Deadpool versus Wolverine in the same way that they have had Alien versus Predator. I think maybe it would have been better if they didn't market this as an MCU film, and then you find out later on that no, this is actually like somewhere closer to the end that it's the secret that this is actually an MCU film. But of course, if they didn't do that, there would be no MCU film coming out this year because Captain America, New World Order, Brave New World, whatever they're calling this reboot of Captain America starring Sam Wilson now, that has been moved into next year, and they appear to have done heavy reshoots on that film. So this film needs to do well for the Walt Disney Company this year. And it's their best chance at $1 billion, even though it's something that is completely inappropriate for children. One R-rated film has ever made $1 billion before this, and that was the Joker film. Even the X-Men films capped out at $786 million in the past under much more favorable circumstances. Vash, wrap us up here. Is there anything else we need to add?
I don't really think so, but you can kind of see how they're playing this so far, right? They obviously want very much attached to the MCU. They want to necessarily downplay or underplay just how much this particular story, how much homework or how much catching up you need to do to necessarily enjoy this entry into this franchise right here. You can see where they're maneuvering to try to increase the likelihood of success for this film, and I do think it will be successful. Will it reach $1 billion? Man, that is very, very difficult. But I don't know. I think there is a broad mass appeal to Deadpool teaming up with Wolverine, which they've kind of hinted at in the past. Obviously, a lot of people love Hugh Jackman as that character right there, and them highlighting it, I think, is the best part about this. It's like, look, listen, this is a team up movie. This is them getting together right here. This is for in that way. This is for the fans. That's good to lean into. These other things, I'm just not sure they're going to hold water. There are going to be a lot of people who come out immediately and say, yeah, but your first trailer, it made a lot to do about the TVA. Like, how can you say that you can necessarily understand completely what's going on without having at least some prior knowledge? I think that's a false claim there.
You may be right. Of course, only time will tell. Currently, I'm not planning to see Deadpool. I think there are people associated with the channels that will be seeing it, so someone will have a review of it. Maybe not me, unless I really have to do it. But with that being said, we want to throw this to our commenters. Is this something that makes you more likely to see Deadpool or less likely to see Deadpool? Let us know in the comment section down below. Or is Marvel just playing a little sleight of hand here with a little bit of trickery, a little bit of word trickery, as it were? That being said, like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.